As a creative entrepreneur, I know that you wear 101 hats. And when you're trying to grow your business, it's even more important to be really laser focused on the important things that you need to do in order to achieve that more efficiently. And the question is, what strategy do you need to employ when in order to make that possible? And today we're talking about, is it better for you as a creative entrepreneur to time manage or to energy manage in order to efficiently grow your business? Stay tuned. Hi, if you're new to me, I'm Doreca Delbridge. Most of you know me as msdorylinda, and I am an occupational psychologist. And today's topic is a really important one because whenever I start working with a new group in my membership, the Baobab Experience, we always work around what sort of pace of life do they want? Because whatever we're building a business or growing a business, we want it to be sustainable long term. We don't want to employ or put tactics in that we can sustain. And the question is always, I'm really terrible at time management because I work with creatives, or they would say, I really cannot project manage. Because yes, time management is really, really important. We need to manage our time well and use efficiently the time that we have. But what I do find most of the time that we usually miss or not pay enough attention is energy management. Because with the work that I do as an occupational psychologist, the thing that I know is whenever we are tired, exhausted, or about to lose our energy is the time where our window of tolerance, if you've heard me talk about that before, our window of tolerance to distress narrows. When it does, this is the time where most of my creatives will find that they abandon ideas or abandon projects or start to procrastinate. And we all have different windows of tolerance throughout our day, or depending on where our environment, it could be that you've tolerated so much at work that when you get home, you can't tolerate anymore. If you are, as a creative entrepreneur that works maybe at home, that you don't work with a team in a particular setting, it could be that you wake up in the morning and you have an amazing energy and through the day that wears off, right? So the question is, as a creative entrepreneur, which is more important? Should you focus solely on time management or should you focus on energy management? So I'll break it down in a way that will hopefully help you figure out which is more important for you. With time management, it's really helpful to know what allowance do you have. For example, when you're trying to work out the best way to balance your life, if you have hobbies, you have family, you have other interests that you're working on, you're trying to find what's the best way that you can work without burning yourself out, right? So understanding time management, whether you block the whole day to work on a specific task, time blocking can be really a great way to do time management. It could also be that you break the day in specific hours so you can hold yourself accountable. It could be like for me, sometimes I have my harvester timer going on all the time because it gets me accountable to know what did I actually do with my day. This is not to monitor myself to see what did you do today. I'm not taskmaster like that to myself, but it's more so to acknowledge what I did. My struggle is always to acknowledge what did I achieve today. Sometimes it feels like I go in with unrealistic goals, right, in my day, and then at the end of it I feel like, oh no, I didn't finish the 101 things on my list. When I go back to my app and I know the time I set and I put in the details, I recognize those are the things that I achieved today and actually can celebrate those, right? So for me, allocating specific time feels really stifling. I feel like I'm back into the 9 to 5, which I did not become an entrepreneur to be back in the 9 to 5, right? But it's just to block the day and just see how productive I can be. For you, it may be different. It may be in the morning you just don't feel fully awake, that you need to have time in the afternoon. Managing time, knowing when you can allocate what to do is really helpful. Now, the energy management is a little bit of what I was even talking about just when we started. Some people have a lot of energy in the morning. Some people have a lot more energy in the afternoon once they've had time to themselves. I'm enrolling people in a workshop. It's called the Finish What You Start, which is really mostly for people who struggle, creatives like yourself, who struggle with shiny object syndrome. And one of the conversations I was having with an attendee was that she said, I have to have the time in the morning to myself allocated to reflect, think, just to take care of myself, just to decompress, that will allow my energy to be in the optimal level to actually start. Now for her, yes, that is a combination of time. She's understanding that that allocation has to happen in the morning for her to be able to be her top best during the day. But it also is more to manage her energy, because she knows if she doesn't give that time to herself, she won't have the energy needed through the day to accomplish the rest in her business. So for you, you have to figure out what is more important. Just allocating tasks in a day without paying attention to time, does that work for you? Just going with the flow. Sometimes I hear people, I just want to go with the flow. And there is no managing or even just acknowledging of where the time goes. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I can get in the flow and I can forget to eat, which is not a good thing. Don't do that. Eat, take care of yourself, go outside, be in nature, whatever else you enjoy, be with your animals, be with your family, read, whatever it is that helps you refresh, please do that. Do not be getting bogged down in the work that we have designed for ourselves and still feel like it's taking forever to even take care of ourselves, right? We want to bring freedom into the business. We want freedom businesses, right? So take care of yourself. But the idea is we have to monitor how is our energy flowing, but how are we allocating the most important task to do as that energy is flowing. So when we ask which is more important, is really how are you prioritizing what during the day. If you've already allocated a specific time to do specific things because you know this is the time I can work. If you know, for example, I can only work 9 to 2 o'clock, that's your time allocation, right? If you then know like, okay, I have to time block this specific task during my day, that's a great example of time management. Throughout that, you know that once I've done 2 or 3 things, my energy starts to really wane off. Or when I start with this particular task in my time allocation, it drains me so much I can't do anything else. So you know the day you allocate that thing, your energy management will have to be that's the only task you do that day, because it would most likely drain and impair the quality of work you do after that. Does that make sense? So the question of which is more important is really how you prioritize it. Both are important. Time management is important, but when you're ignoring the energy management, you were doing it to a detriment. And here's the most important key to keep in mind. When you're very tired or exhausted, your window of tolerating distress becomes narrower. When you are less able to handle distress, chances are when you hit a little task that is a little too hard, or a bit of work that you don't know enough information, or is giving a little bit of imposter syndrome, chances of you dropping that project at that moment becomes a whole lot higher when your window of distress is narrower. So managing energy is really, really key if you want to be able to widen your window of tolerance so that you can achieve a lot more and do hard things when you need to. Does that make sense? If you're already achieving a lot of value in this video, because you know I take my time to prepare this video, make sure you give this video a like, okay? Now the thing that you can take away from this that I would encourage you to do is, yes, set your time management because you don't want to do your work willy-nilly. And yes, make sure that you are very aware of when is your energy really high, when does it tend to wane off. But also pay attention to, or start to monitor if you're not already, when are the cues that you're starting to get really distressed and maybe your window of tolerance has narrowed. And a cue can be when you're in the middle of work and all of a sudden you stop and you pick your phone and you started to, scroll. Or you know you already had breakfast and it's half an hour later and you're looking to go to get a snack. That's a really good sign. Those are the cues of you're feeling distress. Your body is feeling distress and you're finding a way to soothe. Some people it's food, sometimes it's just distraction, some sort of an avoidance. And if you don't pick up on the cues, you might end up just walking away from a project and it's a day or two before you come back to it. And this is why sometimes that idea of the shiny object syndrome comes in, especially when we don't create an intention to return to it. Can you let go of a thing and come back? Absolutely, but hopefully you're doing that more consciously. You're saying to yourself, I don't have enough information to finish this project right now. How about I come back to it and you set an intention to when, right? And in the meantime, you're acknowledging, I think I need to be able to relax myself because my window of tolerance is narrowing. Having that intentionality is really key, because what you don't want is you abandon that one thing because it got to that place where it gets a little distressing. And then all of a sudden you were enticed by this new idea or way of doing something. And now all of a sudden you're off into the new project. I hope that makes sense. When we're asking a question, which is more important, both are equally important, but how you are layering them matters. Do your time management, do your energy audit whenever you can, so you can see how you can layer that in, and be very mindful of that window of tolerance, the cues that are coming in to where is that starting to wean off, or where is that starting to be challenged. And that will bring a lot more awareness for you to start recognizing patterns that will serve you better rather than take away from your activities that you are doing and the efforts you're putting into developing your business. If these ideas resonate with you, this sort of attention to your business and approach to your business resonate with you, make sure you check details of the workshops that are run and the membership that are run the Baobab Experience. And if the shiny object is your thing, I will make sure I add that workshop details in the description as well. If this has been helpful, share it with others, give it a like, and this sort of content is helpful, make sure you subscribe. And as we always say on this channel, focus on being than doing. And I shall see you in the next one.